Welcome back to Safa's Unscripted, episode 101. Once again, people, thank you very much for your love and support. First 100 done, next 1 million to come up. Today, we're talking a bit about the international fixtures that we've got this weekend. Obviously, we'll think some of them are easy and very predictable, but it doesn't stop us from literally going into the game, seeing what could possibly happen. We've got Brett, we've got Brevan. Brett, what do we say?
Sure. Sorry, I'm a bit flustered in this episode.
Have we gotten over the loss against Ireland? Do we feel a bit better?
Yes.
No, not yet. I'm getting there slowly, but yeah.
Still burning.
Still hurts.
I spoke to some of my friends that are in the Springbok team, asking them to come onto the podcast, and all of the ones that I asked have said, sorry, can we just lay low for a few more weeks? So I was like,
I mean,
whatever.
It's fair enough. It is fair enough. Breva, you said
What's
it
up?
still hurts?
Of course, it still hurts.
Better?
Obviously, this is our pride and joy, so it hurts when our pride gets damaged and our team loses because we support them so bad or so much. But yeah, I think obviously you have to look forward. Rugby Championship coming up. Obviously, a little game now against Portugal. So a lot to look forward to. 2 tests against the All Blacks in South Africa, which is very exciting. So yeah, I got to look forward.
I mean, we are already predicting, like, if there's any Irish fans or supporters that will be in our comment section or watching the video that goes out tomorrow, they will come back on Monday if we beat Portugal and say only good enough to beat Portugal. Like, I already know it. Like, it's couldn't beat us, you have to beat Portugal. I actually saw a post from who was, I think it was Ball Carrier or something, and they said, listen, if the Irish beat New Zealand and Australia at the end of the year, they should receive the Rugby Championship for that. I'm like, fair enough, you beat us, right? But you only beat us once. We actually won the other one. So calm down. Okay.
Yeah, but this is what it's about these days. It's all about baiting each other, and so
of course. We took it in good spirits. I just found it a bit funny. Yeah.
So the funniest thing that I've seen is in my comment section, people have been saying, "Oh, our B team beat you, our B team beat you," but they're not talking about the A team that lost. Like, the double standard from the Irish fans is next level.
I mean,
anyway,
aren't we all?
We are focusing on pretty much the Southern Hemisphere for this weekend. Even though the games feel is predictable, it is definitely exciting games. New Zealand versus Fiji. I mean, that's an exciting one. Obviously, we've got a rotational team from New Zealand as well. Do you somehow see how Fiji could, I wouldn't say cause an upset because that would be a stretch, but just cause some troubles for the New Zealand team, Brett?
Not even almost. I can't see this a full strength Fiji coming close to a weakened All Black side. Not even almost. I think it's going to be a proper hiding. I can't even think of a way that Fiji would even come close to competing.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at the side, at least Bowden came into a starting role. That's what I've been asking for. But it's still at 15 and DMAC at 10, which we won't get into that again. But yeah, look, I think Brett's right. I don't see Fiji coming close, to be honest. It's still a decent All Black side. It's not like it's a bunch of new faces. There's a lot of experience there. So yeah, I do see Fiji not really maybe competing for the first 10 minutes. But after that, I personally just think the All Blacks are just, the team's too good. So yeah, I kind of see a runaway victory if it's coming from my perspective.
Yeah. On that Bowden Barrett thing, first and foremost, please do remember to like and subscribe. Okay, I forgot to say that. But anyway, Bowden Barrett, I get the feeling that they might use him as the player 23, kind of the impact player. kind of the impact player to come into their game now. Like almost the same as we did with Damian Willemse, because he covers so many places. And I can't see how you drop Perifeta. Now, to be fair, you don't even need to drop Perifeta. You can just say it's it is Bowden Barrett. But do you kind of agree, Brevan, because you're a massive fan of Bowden Barrett? We both said he's probably in his peak one of the best 10s to ever grace this earth. Do you agree that he could turn into that impact player from the bench if you give him like 30
So I was chatting to a friend about it actually, and they kind of raised the perspective of how it's actually, if you think about it, having Bowden on the bench can be a great thing, because you're kind of bringing on a world-class player who can run the ball at you from wherever it is. He has pace. He can run you ragged for the last 20 to 30 minutes when the other team is kind of, it's like having a backline bomb squad type of play, you know? So, yeah, I think, you know what, like, obviously I just think D-Mac's not the 10 that I personally would go with. I think D-Mac at 15 is the right choice, but that's just me. And then that leaves a gap at 10, and that's where I would want Bowden, because I think he's one of the best 10s when he plays at 10. So, yeah.
Brett?
Yeah, Bowden Barrett's going to be the 10 at the Rugby Championship. I think that this test against England was to give D-Mac the chance that he so heartfully desired. I think he played well, but I don't think he passed the test, if that makes any sense. He did well enough for them to beat England, but the second test, they needed Bowden Barrett to come on to close that test. So although it was at fullback, I still feel like Bowden Barrett brings so much experience and versatility and just general knowledge that I don't think D-Mac, if Razor goes with D-Mac, I'll be very surprised, but I think that Bowden's your man.
But wouldn't they have then like started Bowden Barrett at 10 this game?
No.
Or do you take the risk in the Rugby Championship?
They know exactly what he can bring at 10. He's been at like 10 for so many tests.
With New Zealand's physicality that's picked up over the last couple of seasons, it also gives them that opportunity to go with a 6-2 split on the bench, because we know it's not like the 2007 rugby that we used to watch where you have your clear starters and then clear guys just on the bench to finish the game. It's like everyone has a role. If you look at the Springboks, I don't want to see a Springboks lineup without Kwagga Smith and RG Snyman on the bench. They have clear roles as the bomb squad to come on. And with New Zealand's physicality that's picked up there, and they want to smash over teams, I wouldn't be surprised to see a 6-2 split, because they've always gone with a winger on the bench and then the likes of a Damian McKenzie on the bench and a scrum off. So they always went with 5-3. But now with Bowden there, that can slot into literally every position, Geordie Barrett already on the field and Damian McKenzie, it gives them that luxury to also split their backline, split their bench as they please. So it just makes sense for Bowden to be on the bench. But then also Damian McKenzie can also be on the bench since he can play both positions. But I think D-Mac I think he struggled in the first game, maybe a bit more, but I thought he had a good second game. But I did find that interesting that he's starting once again. I thought they might have gone Bowden Barrett just to see, because Bowden came out and said he wants that 10 jersey. But I mean, fair enough. Moving on. Are we done talking about New Zealand, Fiji? Does anyone want to bring something else up, or can we move on to the next?
I'd like to give my score prediction.
We are going to post the link. Okay, I keep posting it late. My apologies. But we are going to post the SUPERBRU link. You two better do your picks.
Yeah, I haven't done mine yet. I was waiting for the teams, because you actually don't realize like what happens if, let's say, an Aussie. Well, I know Aussies went basically strength, but like imagine they pick a weak side and they don't beat Georgia by the amount you think they would have. So yeah, I just waited for the teams to kind of. I'll do it now after this. Yeah.
Brett, give us your prediction.
I'm going New Zealand by 57.
I think looking at both teams, I'm going to go New Zealand by 48.
Casual.
Okay. I'm going New Zealand by 43, just because I think Fiji might score 1 or 2 tries at the end. Okay. But the thing is, like, this Fiji team is kind of the perfect opponent for the All Blacks to just run wild. We've seen it in the Super Rugby as well. They like playing these Fijian teams that just want to attack. It's always high scoring. When you see the Fiji draw play, you already know there's about an 80-point game in this one. So I see the All Blacks winning, like, I don't know, 60-17, giving Fiji like 2 tries maybe, something like that. Yeah, anyway, let's move on. Australia, Georgia. I've seen a couple of people not necessarily calling an upset on this one, but they say Georgia might pull it close. And I think it's the biggest load of bum fluff that I've ever heard. Okay, Joe Schmidt will not allow them to lose against Georgia. Brevin, I'll let you go first. Speak your mind.
Yeah, I mean, I looked at the team the Aussies select. I
said, speak your truth.
I looked at the Aussies team that they selected, and I just think that team's it's not a bad side if you look at who they have available. So yeah, I just think that Georgia, I mean, what they do at under 20 level, I mean, credit to them, and obviously recently having that win against Wales at a stage, you know, like it's all cool and well, but I don't see them beating the Wallabies in Australia. So yeah, I don't give them a chance. I really don't.
Casual.
I think they destroy this Georgian team. They should have destroyed Wales. Wales beat Georgia. And did you guys know Australia is currently on the longest active winning streak in the world?
Yeah, what? By 3? It's 3 games, eh?
Yeah, and it's the
two against Wales and 1 against probably Portugal.
It doesn't matter, and they're not going to give up that winning streak against bloody Georgia. Okay, Georgia kind of is the same thing as Portugal, right? They've played well in certain games in the World Cup, but remember, I think they were in the same group, and the Wallabies spanked this Georgian team in the World Cup, right? Yeah. This bad Australian team. These guys, they want to continue their run of form. They look more confident on the ball. Joe Schmidt has got them moving. They've got some confidence in that series against the Welsh. This will test their physicality, but they'll be up for it. I'm straight off the bat, I'm going Australia to win this game by 25 points. And I think they'll make it look easy. I think that they'll win this game in cruise control.
Yeah, I'm on the same page as you. I just feel that Georgia's going to be a little bit more physical up front than the Welsh side was, which would test them a little bit more. But I can't see it lasting for longer than 20 minutes of the game until the Georgian side really, that they just start to crumble. So I'm also in my 20s, about 22 to Australia. But I do think that this is going to be a better test for me, because it's a weakened side, but a harder side, if that makes any sense, than the Welsh were. So,
we remember that famous victory of Georgia over Wales, right?
You
remember how tight that game was just in terms of no running stuff? Look at how quick this Australian team plays at the moment. I think they'll gas this Georgian team. Like the pace of play, that's just where I think the advantage comes. Sorry, Brett, I really interrupted there. You can continue.
No, it's fine. I'm done with saying what I wanted to say. I think it's going to be let's say a 22-point win to Australia.
Yeah, I think my final prediction would be by 30. I'm thinking SUPERBRU here, because now I can go 25.
No, but I'm changing it because I don't like going 30. Anyway, fair enough. Let's talk about South Africa taking on Portugal, right? And obviously we'll stay on this a bit longer. Me and Brevin spoke before the pod started while we were waiting for you, Brett, and we just said, listen, even though Rassie came out and said this is not a second string Springbok side. It definitely is. Okay, it's not the first team at all. There's a couple of guys that we maybe prefer, but it's not the first team. These guys should still be good enough to smash Portugal. Okay, Portugal is coming to our territory. yeah, they'll be ready for it, okay? But they struggled against Namibia. Portugal probably thought after the World Cup, we should put a couple of points on Namibia, who's never won a World Cup game, and they struggled against them. Didn't they lose against them? What did they do against Namibia?
No, now this test a few weeks ago they lost.
Yeah, exactly. So I won't be hearing any of this. Oh well, they're a difficult team or whatever. We have to go out there and put a statement on it. We know it's a lose situation. You win, it's just Portugal. You lose, you lost to Portugal. So just go out there, get a statement performance, just give it your everything. And the main important thing for me is don't look and do all your flary stuff. We still need Ivan Roos to do the hard yards, be at the breakdown, clean the rucks, those type of things. That's what I'm looking forward to in this game. Brett?
Yeah, I'm like I said in our previous episode that this is a very fast and nimble South African side, and I think it's clear what the intention is. I think back of the 2003 game where South Africa played against Uruguay, and Todoraj Chavanga scored 7 tries that game. I feel like they're going to go for the same type of. I think the score was 132-3 to South Africa, if I'm not mistaken.
I remember.
I think it's going to be something like that. I think that it's going to be high-scoring teams. Wings are going to see who can score the most tries. I said in the previous episode, I think Kirtley's going to score a 5-er. So I think a 5-er. I think that, I honestly think that South Africa's scoring more than 100 points in this game. And that's no disrespect to
Portugal's getting nothing. Do you go points difference above 100?
Yes.
Wow.
Sure.
I can't see what's Portugal gonna do. South Africa's might concede a penalty in the first 5 minutes, score 0-0. Portugal kicks for goal, they get 3 points, and then South Africa scores 10 tries. Are they gonna go for goal again? You're not cracking the South African defense, or unless it's halftime, 45-0, something like that for South Africa, and they get a penalty. Are they going to kick for goal just to not have 0 on the board? Probably. So I can't see if it's more than 100, probably something like 105-3.
You know what? Like, I can see that happening, but at the same time, I think what I want to see from this game is I don't want to see it being a bunch of superstars trying to score tries. And we discussed this in our last episode. If it turns into that, I kind of just feel like that's when I want to see structure. I want to see good structure in this game. Whatever the game plan is, whether it's the forwards barely carry and it's just backline flare the whole game, like just stick to the structure. Because the minute it just gets disorganized, it's almost like that's when things kind of go wrong, if that makes sense. Like we gained so much momentum against what do you call it? Who did we? It was that Canada game in the 2019 World Cup. We started with such like flair and stuff, and then it almost just slowed down. And the same with Namibia. So yeah, I think just stick to the structure is all I'm really looking for.
Yeah, I don't mind us using that flary backline and things, because we've got the backline now to kind of play the game that we wanted to play against Ireland. But if that ball's close, use your physicality, penalty try, scrum them over, driving maul them over. Don't do any funky stuff. Just put points over them. If you want to use this game for something, use this game as kind of something to build on how clinical we can be. Every 22 entry, we need to get out with points. That's kind of what I want to see. I'm done with this, seeing us literally build a house, build a braai, and not get out of a 20 and not take away points from a 22 or concede something and they get a clearance. It is the most frustrating thing in the world. So I just want us, when we enter, destroy them, whether it's with flair or whether it's with physicality. Show teams we've still got both.
I have a question for both of you. On that topic, actually, it just made me think of that. What of this test match do you not want to see? What will drive you absolutely insane coming from this test, which we expect, well, I expect to be a runaway victory?
Yeah, go for it.
I mentioned it at the start of my little monologue. It is when people think this is just going to be a try fest and everyone just wants to score a try. I want Evan Roos to not just think, okay, I'm going to get the ball and run over people. Because Rassie definitely spoke to him about doing the dirty work. We saw him do it at the Stormers, right? I want to see guys still contesting at the breakdown, still getting their hands into the ruck and contesting the ball. I want guys to really go in for the tackles, not Mani Libbok to snipe or Kobus Reinach to snipe every second because I think they see a half gap. Like, stick to the structure and play a brand of rugby that we want to see, and not just almost desperation in terms of you want to get your name on the score sheet. So, if you get what I mean.
I think don't want to see any penalties, like going for poles and on a penalty, which I doubt they'll do, but that's just one thing. Two, like you said, I don't want to see Quibus. Obviously, he's amazing at it, and like maybe once or twice in the game where he snipes the ruck and goes and scores his majestic chip and chase tries, like we know he can do. And the same applies to Libbok. I'd like to see Libbok kind of play his centers, play the moves. I don't want to see Esther Hazen just bashing it up, if that makes sense. But like you said, you just want to see structure. You just want to see like there's some kind of direction that we're going in, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And I don't want to see us just focus purely on flair. I want to see that South African physicality still. That's a big thing.
I think that's going to come, and I think personally we're going to see a Kobus Reinach and a Mani Libbok masterclass. I can see Kobus Reinach still giving those brilliant box kicks, sniping when he needs to, not when he wants to. And I think he's going to give Mani such quick ball because, like, let's face it, Kobus Reinach is probably one of the fastest guys in that team this weekend. I think maybe him and Kurtley Arends will be neck and neck, but I think that he burns Mapimpi, he burns Fassi. So I think that it's going to be, if Portugal can keep up with that pace, I'll have massive respect for them. Yeah. But I can't see it happening. I honestly think our halfbacks are going to have a proper masterclass.
Yeah. Anyway, so let's give our official score predictions. Brett, you going?
102.
102.
I'm going to go 75.
Yeah. Okay. I've got 71 on SUPERBRU at the moment, so I'll go 71. Just because we didn't even put 100 points past Romania, so I mean, fair enough.
Yeah, we'll see. Anyway, you never know. It's in South Africa.
Anyway, the final two games, we'll just fly through these two because there's not much to talk about. Scotland playing against Chile, they'll absolutely smash them. We saw Scotland put out a pretty strong team, bit of rotation. Like we seen Carl Steyn at the outside centre. Do we see this as just another smashing victory? I actually have a different perspective. I want to ask Brett, you go first. What do you think has been the impact for Scotland to go and play in the likes of Canada, America, and now even Chile? Well, Chile was in the World Cup. Has it been good? Has it been bad? Because we see them to play strong teams.
So for me, this tour is something like what you would do in a preseason game. It's like a preseason tour, like to work on your crooks and crannies and stuff. But it's midway through the year. There's still 6 months before the next Six Nations. So this tour for me makes no sense. Whoever was in charge of organizing this tour, I don't know. That just makes it's stupid for me. I feel like Scotland could have gone to maybe played against Fiji, Samoa, and Tonga or whatever. Something like that. I can't see why they would have these tests. And yes, they're probably going to win some good games, but what does that actually mean for them? Then they go back to Six Nations and they get a hammering again. So I don't agree with this tour.
Yeah, like it's a tough one because you kind of, I mean, as a rugby fan, I don't know if I share this opinion by myself, but you kind of do want to see the lower nation, or sorry, the second tier or third tier nations get their recognition on the world stage. Like I know and you kind of want them to get the experience, but like Brett's saying, it is a waste of time for Scotland because you're not gaining anything out of it. That's just my opinion personally.
Yeah, I spoke to another creator on a TikTok live, and he just said it's literally just because obviously the US they're hosting a World Cup soon, right? So it just gives them a bit of exposure. And what I commend Scotland for doing is putting out strong teams, even though it's rotated teams. Like they're still putting out strong players. Like it's not disrespectful. Like people go and they get to see the likes of a Dwan van der Merwe, Kyle Steyn, Tuipolotu. They haven't seen Finn Russell, obviously, which is probably the biggest name, but they've still seen like 60, 70, 80% of the first team, which is good. That's good for the growth of the game, for the people that support rugby from the other side of the world. So I commend them for that. Let's not go into it too much more. Let's go score prediction. I'll go first. I've got Scotland by 70 on this one as well.
Scotland by 65.
42 to Scotland.
Brett's just going lower because they didn't put up a convincing performance against America.
This is true. And Chile qualified for the World Cup. If it wasn't for the eligibility of one certain player, they would have played in the World Cup. And yeah, I can't see Scotland. Scotland's not a very, I don't know, well-oiled machine.
Yeah. I still think they put a hammering on them. So, yeah, I'm just going 70. But
we'll
anyway.
see who's right. We'll see who's right.
Yeah, and then the final one's kind of same story, but now we've got a up and down Argentina team that could probably beat the 2015 All Blacks team or lose to this Uruguayan team. You never know which Argentina team is pitching up. Reverend, what's your initial thoughts thinking about that one?
Well, if they play like a weakened Argentinian side, I feel like it's not going to be very convincing. I think they'll still win, but it won't be very convincing. If they put up their strength side, it will be convincing, but it won't be as convincing as people think, if that makes sense. So
I can't remember the last time I've seen the Argentina team get a convincing victory.
This is true. Yeah, like honestly, like with a full strength team, I still think they only win by like 45 maximum.
Yeah. Because obviously this Uruguayan team reminds me of the Spain team. Like they are starting to get on the up with the sevens as well. So they could really make the sport a bit bigger there, and then it will flourish through to the 15-man rugby, which is obviously the pinnacle of the sport. So that will be interesting to see the future for them. But they are used to getting hammered as well. But as I said, this Argentina team doesn't hammer anyone. Brett?
That is hilarious. Yeah, I do agree with that. That's why my score is so low. I'm going Argentina by 17 because of that exact same reason. They try so hard, but they don't really win far. I'm trying to think inside this noggin of mine when I've seen them with a big score, and I can't think of one game.
No, because they make the game dirty. They win games, but it's all like dirty victories. But to be fair, they're not playing Italy and Wales every year like other Six Nations teams. They are playing South Africa, the Wallabies, and New Zealand every year twice, and then they have to travel at the end of the year and play, for instance, France or whatever. Yeah. But if you look at the World Cup, they didn't beat Samoa by much. Did they? They put a healthy scoreline past Chile, but only in the second half, isn't it?
Yeah, but they were actually, this is one of their worst World Cups. They were quite shocking.
Yeah, and somehow still made it to the
semi-final. Crazy.
Anyway, thank you everyone for watching. Thank you always for your support. Please do remember to like and subscribe to the channel. We appreciate you as always. And we will see you on Monday for a little weekend review. Thank you. Bye.
Okay, bye.
Cheers.